waliwo amawulire agakajja okuva mu palamenti y'eggwanga Uganda nga galaga nti eggye lya UPDF lifuuse machinery, lifuuse ekintuntu nti oba oyagala okulipangisa likolera omulimu opangisa pangise, oba olina gw'oyagala okugenda okuba gw'opangisa pangise negenda likukubira omuntu oyo, oba olina by'oyagala okugenda okukola oyagala kukuuma nsolo ng'ogenda ng'opangisa UPDF ng'ejja ekkumira ekibanja kyo, oba oyagala kubaako b'olumba ng'olina eggye eryesigika ojja ng'opangisa UPDF ng'egenda okukolera omulimu ogwo. Bino nno byanjuddwa mu palamenti olunaku olwaleero. Mathias Mpuuga Nsamba bw'abuuzizza abakulira amagye mu palamenti, minisita wa defense mu palamenti nti kino ate kyatandise ddi okuba nti UPDF kati kyafuuse kyamaguzi nti ayagala yagipangisa naye nemukolera omulimu. Nti tulabye mu Central African Republic mugitwala mawanga mangi n'agamenyaawo. UPDF gyepangisibwa kati negenda bugenzi nga ejje eriri Russia erya magma ebyo nga jje ddyo liryawo bilipangisibwa bupangisibwa okukola emirimu egy'enjawulo, oba gya butujju oba gya bikolobero oba gya kutta bantu oba gya kulya bantu, gopangisa UPDF ng'ejja kukolera omulimu kasita bino bino birimu okutta abantu. Kino kitabudde Mathias Mpuuga Nsamba n'abuuza bino byatandise ddi, babiteeserezzaawa, biri mu constitution oba mu ssemateeka yaawa nti UPDF kifuuke ekitongole ekipangisibwa bupangisibwa yenna ayagadde nti tewakyali buvunaanyizibwa bwa UPDF mu Uganda. UPDF omulimu gwa kuuma Uganda ensalo zaayo okulaba nti tewali balabi bazeeyingira. Ate kati omulimu omulala gwazze gutya mu constitution nti UPDF epangisibwe nga machinery etwalibwe ekola emirimu wabweru wa Uganda oba ne munda mu Uganda. Omuntu yenna aba agyagadde, oyagala kukuumira nte ezo ku faamu gwe pangisa UPDF ejja kukuumira ente ezo, oyagala kukuuma lusuku lwo pangisa UPDF ejja kukuumira olusuku lwo, oyagala kukuuma bijanjalo byo UPDF weerinnyo gw'oyabwika ssente nga yejja kukuumira ebijanja byo tebabibba. Ekyo nno ensonga eri mu palamenti ekutta omubabiro olunaku olwaleero, era nti nsaba okkirize tugendeko mu palamenti eno tulabe ensonga zino naye weebuuza ebibuuzo nga bye neebuuza namulala bye yeebuuza. Ate UPDF yafuuse ddi akabinja k'okupangisibwa bupangisibwa okukola ebikolobero mu nsi muno. Mathias.
Much obliged, Right Honourable Speaker. Briefly on two issues. One, the Nambole matter. I'll ask you to reconstitute that committee humbly because at all times would not get quorum. So probably I'll formally return and then we reconstitute for action. Secondly, I had decided that I would raise this matter in a statement, but seeing the Minister of Defense in plenary, which is rare, I thought I should bring it to the attention of the House.
Honorable Lob, my Minister of Defense is always in the House. If he's not physically here, he's on Zoom.
Yes, Right Honourable Speaker, true. I have seen him several in committees answering to his question, to questions of his entity. A rare human in the plenary, but I'm glad he's here. And he raises my curiosity for his physical presence. Namely, on the fact that he has informed the country that part of the UPDF is going to be hireable. That the UPDF is going to be constituted into private guards, just like Wagner in Russia. If you have money, you can hire and take on your farm. They can guard your poultry, your cattle for hire. The UPDF, Right Honourable Speaker. So now that the Minister of Defense is here, will you want to explain to the House under what law is it denigrating the sanctity and dignity of the National Army into a force hireable?
Honorable, order is placed here.
Right Honourable Speaker, together with his deputy hovering in, we are aware that the UPDF is a reputable force, and there have been concerns about its deployment severally in Central Africa, in Guinea-Bissau, and other places undeclared, Honorable Speaker. Equatorial Guinea. Honorable Speaker, with the Minister of Defense come clean on a matter that really sounded very ugly, coming at the backdrop of constituting the UPDF into a fishing brigade, because they have now a fishing brigade, away from what we know of the UPDF. So will the Minister of Defense explain what has become of the UPDF for our attention and the understanding of the population as what they're up to?
Honorable Minister, let's first hear from UPDF. No, he's giving information. I am the speaker.
I do me the speaker.
No, the mic is as neutral as UPDF in this house, I believe. Right Honorable Speaker and colleague members, thanks for giving me this opportunity to clarify on this wheelbarrow and the fury that has been coming out with the coming into scene of yet another subsidiary of the National Enterprise Corporation, the NEC Security Services Limited, to provide security services. I have some information here.
Honorable, do you have a report to that effect?
I have my bullet points, which I believe I could share with you.
Can I look at it, or it is just notes that you have?
Some of it is handwritten, some of it...
So can we ask Ministry of Defense, you give that information to the minister, and then the minister will come and make a presentation tomorrow.
I wanted to provide that information, because we are not talking about the UPDF. We are talking about the National Enterprise Corporation, which is the commercial and business arm of the Ministry of Defense.
Honorable, Honorable,
I oblige.
That is very simple. We understand what you're talking about, but let the minister come and make a presentation to the House. He's a political head.
Much obliged, Right Honorable Speaker, but I want to assure the members that the mighty UPDF is still a very respectable force, admired by the whole world globally.
Procedure.
Madam Speaker, you have made a ruling that the minister comes with a statement tomorrow on this serious matter. Is it procedural right for the minister to continue giving this wrong information instead of waiting and adhering to the rule that tomorrow, such that it comes when it's organized, to present on this matter, which is very serious? So is he proceeding right by continuing when you have made a ruling that it comes tomorrow with a statement after General has given him the information?
Honorable members. Next item.
Item 3.
Honorable members, this is pursuant to Rule 33 of the Rules of Procedure, where we will require just the key points and the recommendations to be presented, and should be as brief as possible by the persons who are presenting.
Thank you very much.
laying of papers, reports of the Committee on Foreign Affairs on A, an oversight visit to the Embassy of Uganda in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. B, the oversight visit to the Ugandan mission in Abu Dhabi and the consulate in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. C, oversight visits to the embassies of the Republic of Uganda in Algiers, Algeria, Cairo, Egypt, and Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, members of Parliament. I am here to present a report on the Committee on Foreign Affairs on the oversight visit to the Embassy of Uganda in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And in accordance with Rule 33, Sub-Rule 1 of the Rules of Procedure, I beg to lay a report on the Committee of Foreign Affairs on oversight visit to the Embassy of Uganda in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Mr. Speaker, I beg to play.
Thank you. Please lay.
Honorable Speaker, in accordance to Rule 33, Sub-Rule 2 of our Rules of Procedure, I beg to present a brief summary of the recommendation contained in the report on the oversight visit to the Uganda Commission in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Honorable Speaker and members, the government of Uganda should ensure that products leaving Uganda and destined for Saudi Arabia and any other export destination should meet internationally recognized standards. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and concerned missions should consider budgeting for external labor recruitment challenges. Honorable Speaker and members, among the recommendations, the committee did recommend the government of Uganda should regulate the activities of organizations that organize the travel of Ugandan Muslim pilgrims who perform Hajj, Umrah. The government of Uganda should appoint members on the Joint Technical Committee for Bilateral Cooperation with immediate effect. Another recommendation that all outstanding memorandum between Uganda and Saudi Arabia must be concluded. Efforts should be made to establish consulates in the countries that are accredited to this mission in order to enhance accessibility to consular services. The Ministry of Finance should limit the budget ceilings upwards or leave the budget open to enable MDAs to responsibly make adequate budget provisions for the planned activities. And lastly, one of the recommendations, Right Honorable Speaker, the government of Uganda should, with immediate effect, raise the allowances for foreign service officers to make them commensurate with the cost of living index in the countries where they are posted. This is on Riyadh as a nation.
Thank you. All this will be deposited to the library for you to get time and peruse through them.
Honorable Speaker, with your permission, I beg to lay committee reports on the oversight visit, the Uganda mission in Abu Dhabi, and the consulate in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay.
Please lay.
Furthermore, Honorable Speaker, in accordance with Rule 33 Sub-Rule 2 of the Rules of Procedure, I beg to present a summary on recommendations by the committee on the report of oversight visit of Abu Dhabi and the consulate in Dubai. Honorable Speaker, among the recommendations of the committee, we did recommend that increased facilitation to the Uganda mission in UAE to cover the wage and non-wage deficit. Secondly, funding for travel abroad for missions abroad must be reinstated to enable them pursue the promotion of economic and commercial diplomacy. Another recommendation, Madam Speaker, increase the capital development budget, and this relates to the need of our own properties at every mission of Uganda abroad. Another recommendation, Madam Speaker, to provide a transition budget to facilitate and cover for urgent mission financial needs between the end of the financial year and the beginning of one. Madam Speaker, we recommend the mission should be accorded immediate authorization to issue emergency travel certificates to enable the emergency repatriation of Ugandans who are in distress. We recommend that we give special consideration to the Uganda mission in UAE for purposes of promotion of economic and commercial diplomacy. The committee also recommends the purchase of a decent representation vehicle for the head of mission. And finally, we recommend that the committee decides to give a special attention to the issue of labor externalization of Uganda workers in UAE, and the standalone report will be presented in due course. Honorable Speaker, I beg to report.
Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you. This is not for debate. Yes. We are depositing this to the library and all of you will have access to it.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, just connected to this, it's good our committee went to the UAE. Madam Speaker, last financial year, we did pass money for the purchase of the vehicle for our ambassador in Washington. But Madam Speaker, to date, first of all, finance did not release the money. The ambassador has no vehicle. Even the one which was there has broken down. This is our main, one of the main missions. So, Madam Speaker, it's not only the UAE where the ambassador or the head of the mission does not have transport. Can we hear from finance why they did not release the money? And a little of government business here, because this is embarrassing to us. The ambassador cannot keep hiring, going on Uber, on Bolt, to the embarrassment of our country. So please, we did our part. We passed the money for Washington. Finance has not sent the money.
We will need to get a report for all the embassies, not specifically Washington, because all the other embassies are as important as that. So committee, you'll give us information to that effect. And then we make a follow-up with the finance.
Most obliged, Madam Speaker.
Thank you.
Honorable Speaker and members, I beg to lay a report to the Committee of Foreign Affairs on the oversight visit to the embassies of Uganda to Algiers, Algeria, Cairo, Egypt, and Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. Right, Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay.
Listening. Thank you.
And allow me proceed on the recommendations for these very important missions. And I'll start with our mission in Algiers. The committee recommends the procurement of appropriate chancery premises in an affluent location. Secondly, capital development budget to enable the embassy capture both the presentation vehicle and utility van, which is lacking in most of our missions. Thirdly, we recommend the recruitment of an education attaché to this mission, as many of our students, actually many of our scholarships come from that mission. The Ministry of Education and Sports should explain why only 40 out of the 120 scholarships offered have been utilized. Annually, we receive 120 scholarships, but surprisingly, only 40 are utilized. The government should, with immediate effect, second or nominate a person of high caliber with the requisite qualification to deputize Algeria as the AFRIPOL. Madam Speaker, this position has been falling vacant since 2020, when one of the officers that was in that position actually retired. So the post is being held in absentia, and we recommend that action be taken immediately. The Minister of Finance and the Minister of Foreign Affairs should submit a request to Parliament to facilitate the change of the erroneously placed 2 billion Uganda shillings that was meant for economic and commercial diplomacy, and this was taken for development budget. Madam Speaker, as you're aware that our foreign missions, one of the key things that are engaged in is the issue of economic and commercial diplomacy. When we don't fund them, we really curtail their work. Our recommendation is also to reinstate facilitation for the travel abroad. These are foreign missions, and most of them have got very many kinds of accreditation. Therefore, they cannot be able to traverse between different countries if they do not have travel abroad budget. So that's one of our requests, Madam Speaker. Need to update and renew the outdated MOUs, sign the pending ones, and ratify the signed treaties and protocols. Madam Speaker, our missions operate through MOUs, and we would not be able to sign them and really update them. Then it curtails the operations of our mission. So this is one of our recommendations, Madam Speaker. Given plans by government of Algiers to import powdered milk from Uganda, the government of Uganda should explore possibilities of signing bilateral air service agreements with a view of enabling both countries to operate cargo flights to and from Entebbe and Algiers. That is what we recommend as a committee. To our mission in Cairo, Madam Speaker, these are some of the recommendations that the committee came up with. The government should urgently locate funds for Uganda's mission in Addis Ababa to facilitate relocation to a more secure place. Madam Speaker, we were guided by the host government that our mission was very secure, and therefore we pray that the ministry takes really very fast action to make sure that our mission is relocated. Government of Uganda should allocate sufficient funds to enable construction of a new single complex that would accommodate both the chancery and the official residence. We also recommend
proceeding.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the chair for the remarks that she's giving, and very timely and very good information to this House, Right Honorable Speaker. However, Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister for Foreign Affairs is not in the House. We are noting very key issues, Right Honorable Speaker, about our embassies.
What about?
Right Honorable Speaker, I'm talking about the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Right Honorable Speaker. Wouldn't it be procedural right?
Is a what? What is it?
Right Honorable Speaker, I don't know all the ministers, Right Honorable Speaker. So let me raise my matter, Right Honorable Speaker. Wouldn't it be procedurally right, Right Honorable Speaker, that the Minister of Foreign Affairs is here personally and himself to listen to this, so that we take care of the issue of our embassies, Right Honorable Speaker?
Honorable members, the papers that are being laid are laid under Rule 33, and we are going to deposit them in the library. The minister can have access to the information that is being provided by the committee. And that's why it is not even subject to debate. Yes, but we have the minister in the House. Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs. Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs. Just assure him that you're Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much. The Honorable Surwanyi may not just know the nomenclature of the various ministries we have, but I think let me take the opportunity to remind him that in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we have Minister in charge of International Cooperation, State, but also we have Minister of Foreign Affairs in charge of Regional Affairs. And I am here present. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, Chair, can you finish?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, okay.
Yeah, Madam Speaker, Rule 33 and 34 talk about laying of reports of parliamentary delegation abroad and committee field reports. But at the same time, they say the Speaker shall appoint time not exceeding 45 minutes for debate. I don't know whether it will be in future or today, Madam Speaker.
Can we first have the papers laid?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for that guidance. One of the recommendations by the committee was that we review and categorize all missions, taking into consideration the prevailing circumstances and locations of particular missions, among other factors. And the last recommendation on this mission was that to motivate the head of mission and mission staff through enhanced remuneration packages, taking into account the volumes of work at the mission. And last, Right Honorable Speaker, the recommendations for our mission in Cairo are as follows. The government should urgently allocate funds for Uganda's mission in Addis Ababa. The government of Uganda should urgently take a decision on whether to buy or rent premises in the new capital city of Egypt. Secondly, the government should board the premises of the Chancery and use the proceeds from the sale of one to acquire new premises in the new administrative district to act as the ambassadors of official residence. Other recommendation is, Madam Speaker, the committee that mission should recruit an education attaché to manage affairs of the student community in Egypt and countries of accreditation. The mission, in collaboration with National Identification and Registration Unit Authority, that is NIRA, should take deliberate steps to conduct registration and issuance of national identity cards to Ugandan citizens living and working in Cairo. Honorable Speaker and members, the committee recommends that government of Uganda should engage and lobby the Egyptian government to sign a memorandum of understanding to regularize and grant legal status to Ugandan citizens living in Egypt. And lastly, Madam Speaker, this committee recommends that government of Uganda should negotiate a labor agreement between Uganda and Egypt. In summary, Madam Speaker, this is what we'll be able to present. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. As we have already said, much as Rule 33 requires that we debate, we give some 45 minutes, but we want a comprehensive report for all the embassies, not only the 3 that you're presenting. So give us a whole report and we discuss and see how to handle early enough before we go into the budgeting process, because most of these issues have financial implications. Next.
Item 4.
Yes, procedure matter.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. 2 procedural issues. Number 1, as she was presenting, she said Cairo, they were informed that Cairo is in a very secure place. But when to say Cairo should be, I think she meant to say insecure, but said secure. It may please you that she corrects that record because she said it's in a very secure place.
It's insecure.
That's what she meant to say, but said a different thing.
Thank you, colleague, for that information. Madam Speaker and colleagues, I meant our mission is in insecure location.
Insecure place, yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, that's corrected. The other procedural issue that I've been battling to bring to your attention since the House started. Like you rightly said, we many times, often than not actually, meet on Zoom. Some of us meet on Zoom for some reasons. But reading through our rules of procedure, they don't provide very well how a member on Zoom would be able to participate. It even becomes extremely very difficult if the matter involves taking decision when a question is put forward for people to pronounce themselves as in aye or nay. Sometimes, even on ascertaining quorum, the speakers say there's quorum, members are here and others are on Zoom. And there's no way we ascertain the number of people on Zoom to actually be sure that we have quorum. Right Honorable Speaker, would it please your Right Honorable Speaker, I saw you are being engaged. Would it be please your chair that you defer this matter to the Rules Committee to define to us exactly how members on Zoom could participate? I was on Zoom last week. Of course, the procedure of Zoom is that you can even put up a hand. I put up a hand throughout from the beginning to the end. I knew, of course, I wouldn't be noticed, but I was trying to check the system. I even tried to say statement, I'm not going to say here, to check whether we are being followed. And I noticed that we are not being followed.
But you can say, no problem. Anyway, Hajat, it's not guesswork that we do on ascertaining quorum. It is on record. We can print for you whenever you want it. Our IT people ascertain for us what is on quorum. If you want to debate on Zoom, a person who can tell you that he debates on Zoom is just behind you. Patrick, don't you? Patrick, have a mic.
Madam Speaker, whenever I'm out of the country, I've been given chance to debate here.
Thank you so much. Next item.
Item 4.
Madam Speaker, I would love to inform you and the House that these reports, the summaries I've just read, actually were deposited with the clerk. The reports are there. And also, secondly, that we have other reports that are ready for oversight missions. We just request you to give us a space on that other paper. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Another procedure. Hajat.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Stop harassing Patrick.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, you have asked the chairperson of the committee to bring a comprehensive report when all this are done. All this are done. I think it would be professional right for us to give the committee. It would be professional right to give a committee the time within which they bring the comprehensive statement. Why am I saying this? Why am I hitching this issue on time? The issue which the chairperson, Honorable Norris, raised, the issue of the ban on or the freeze on travel abroad. Madam Speaker, I think the Minister of Finance did a blanket ban. We're in Mozambique with the Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker. Our High Commissioner to South Africa that covers that region, Honorable Amur, could not come to receive the Speaker in Maputo. Why? Because Finance has not given them money to go and present their credentials to all the neighboring countries that they cover. So it creates a challenge. So Finance should not have given a blanket ban on the travel abroad, because it also covered that where they're supposed to present their credentials. So that's why I'm saying time should be given within which the committee should bring a report such that we're able to address these issues, such that our ambassadors, especially the new ones, are able to present their credentials. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
But you cannot have a Minister of Foreign Affairs that does not travel. We really need money in foreign affairs. You can cut for the rest, but foreign affairs needs to travel. Next item. Yes, Enos.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As much as you said they will bring a report for all the embassies, but there's an important issue that she raised under visas. Embassies, specifically, I'll talk about Cairo, our embassy in Cairo. They receive application for visas, but they cannot issue visas. And this at times it delays people coming into the country. Can the Honorable Minister take it upon himself to check with the embassies? Because the system, yes, they are required to use the system, but at times the system takes so long to approve the visas. Why is it that we cannot look into it, allow possibly up to a certain limit for these embassies to approve visas for travelers who are mostly coming in for tourism?
That's okay. Honorable Minister, take it up, including Saudi. Take it up on those issues.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to ask the chairperson and probably the minister, our missions, wherever our committee chairperson and our committee should pick interest in the commercial diplomacy. At least for every mission, Madam Speaker, when they come here to report, we should know the volumes of trade that comes with those missions. What are we benefiting with those missions being there? And it must come here to Parliament, and every mission should be proud of what they are bringing in to the country. Otherwise, when we just report on the cars they are driving, report on how they are living in a bad environment, really, we may not have good value for money, Madam Speaker. So next time I want to plead to the chairperson.
You need to know the contribution of that to
every mission should contribute, should tell us the contribution every time they are reporting here. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable members, we are going to debate those reports, and Hajat, you check on your Zoom. You will see all the people. I can see Honorable Esther Ambayo, Okumu Gabriel, Noya. I see so many here. I wish you had access to it. Anyway.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you. If I could say one.
Your law wants to clarify on that.
My lord, I pray you give me 1 minute. If a question, for example, is put, and people are going to say aye and nay.
I want to refer you. Listen, members virtually present in the House refers to a member participating in the proceedings of Parliament outside the chambers of Parliament through designated digital platform, having obtained leave of a speaker and registered with the clerk to appear at least 12 hours before commencing the sitting. And exactly that's what Honorable Shabi and Tim do. You need to inform us that I'll be on Zoom of the speaker. and it is in the rules of procedure.
Most obliged, Speaker. My question has been at the time of voting. We have passed laws here. First of all, on ascertainment of quorum, we look around and say plus Zoom, we have quorum. And then the question is put and we decide the matter by aye and nay. How would we pick the voices of people who on Zoom where they have said nay and aye? And in most cases, you might find in such cases, the people who are in the house, the number is so small that it needs to be complemented by the number on Zoom to be considered to be quorum. In such circumstances, how are we going to avoid even litigation? Thank you. My Lord, thank you for
we
giving
had an
space.
orientation on rules at the beginning, and the people who were orienting you on the rules, one of them is just here. You give her information on what you told her. Remind.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. During orientation, unfortunately, some colleagues, they either attended and didn't pay attention, or the excitement of the victory could have overwhelmed them. But all this is the truth. When you've just won, you will all get overwhelmed. It's natural. So we did that with the Honorable Nuwagaba, Honorable Medad Segona, and most times, Right Honorable Speaker, I sympathize with you when matters that were obviously discussed during the training is coming out here. And now I'm continuing this. I'm continuing with the lecture on rules. I think.
Let her first stand up. Honorable members, what Honorable OO is saying, let's pay attention to whatever, whenever we have an induction and the rules are there. Let's revise the rules always, whenever we have the time. Can we go to the next item?
Item 4, motion for a resolution of Parliament urging government to prioritize interventions to address the challenges of mycotoxin contamination in northern Uganda.
Honorable members, food safety is a vital precondition for good health, and the motion seeks to address the silent challenges facing the grain farmers, not only in northern Uganda, but in the whole country. And we'll give Honorable Jara only 5 minutes, then we'll refer this to the Committee of Agriculture. Honorable members, listen to Honorable Mapendusi. Honorable Mapendusi knows where he belongs.
All right. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to have this motion for a resolution of Parliament urging government to prioritize interventions to address the challenges of mycotoxin contamination in northern Uganda. And Right Honorable Speaker, I move this motion under Rule 56 of the Rules of Procedure. Right Honorable Speaker, whereas the Food and Agriculture Organization and World Health Organization recognize the worldwide occurrence of mycotoxins in human foods and animal feeds, and whereas mycotoxins are secondary fungal metabolites with toxic effects to humans and animals, and in terms of exposure to chronic diseases, mycotoxins pose high risk of infections. Aware that mycotoxins such as aflatoxin compromises the quality of grains and produce and affects Uganda's competitiveness in the regional and global market, noting that staple foods produced in Uganda are highly susceptible to infection by toxigenic, fungi, and several environmental factors. are in favor of developing toxigenic fungi during the fill period, the time of harvest, or during storage. Noting further that research conducted by Gulu University indicates that mycotoxin contamination is a large food safety issue in northern Uganda, and about 90% of grain produced from northern Uganda are contaminated and partly responsible for the high prevalence rate of hepatitis B and liver cancer in the region. And the situation has been made worse due to limited surveillance. Aware that the food grains that are produced in northern Uganda are mainly sorghum, maize, millet, and rice, and also granules, which are legumes, are also widely grown in the region, but highly susceptible to mycotoxin contamination. Apprehensive that there is limited public awareness on mycotoxin contamination of foods and its toxicity burden among farmers in northern Uganda. Poor pre- and post-harvest agricultural practices are common among the local farmers in the region that expose the grains to high mycotoxin contamination. Apprehensive further, Right Honorable Speaker, that heavy dietary reliance by the people of northern Uganda on locally produced staple food that is highly susceptible to mycotoxin contamination exacerbates the problem of mycotoxin contamination for many small-scale farmers in the community. Appreciating that with funding from Belarus Belgium government program, Gulu University has established mycotoxin testing lab with GC, HPLC, PCR, and ELISA tools to support surveillance of mycotoxin contamination in the region of Uganda and the country at large. Hopeful that the control and prevention of mycotoxin contamination shall encourage farmers to practice crop rotation, proper drying of grains before storage, avoid grain storage in damp or moist areas, timely harvest of crops, avoid pest infestation and damage of grains during storage, use of fungicides, and planting of improved variety of seeds. Confident that the prevention of mycotoxin contamination shall address the 4 pillars of integrated mycotoxin contamination management that involves a knowledge on prevention, avoiding, monitoring, predicting, interventions, and suppression using chemicals. Cognition that in order to address the challenges of mycotoxin contamination experienced in northern Uganda, there is need for a collective will and commitment from different stakeholders, including government agencies, politicians, religious and cultural leaders, farmers, small and large-scale trailers, health and agricultural and extension services, as well as development partners. Now, therefore, be it resolved by this Parliament that 1, prioritize support towards post-harvest handling and management. 2, to provide support to farmers in northern Uganda and the country at large to exercise good agricultural practices, and especially to practice prevention of mycotoxins at pre- and post-harvest level. 3, provide support to Gulu University Multifunctional Laboratory to scale up mycotoxin testing, surveillance, dissemination, and measures to reduce on the burden of mycotoxins and associated implications. Finally, strengthen the regulatory framework on the quality of food in line with safety and health standards. I beg to move, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you so much. Is it seconded? Seconded by Dr. Bedi, by Afanda Anya, by Afanda, I don't want to, by Dokolo, by Akol, by OO, Honorable OO, the minister, by the whole house. Yes, would you love to speak to your motion?
Right Honorable Speaker, I am grateful that this Parliament is in full recognition of the dangers of mycotoxin contamination. Recently, Right Honorable Speaker, in this same house, there were discussions on goods that had been impounded in South Sudan when our traders went to conduct business And these impounded goods were majorly because of the contamination, mycotoxin contamination. Right, Honorable Speaker, as the medics or the scientists have indicated, the contamination leads to several other effects, very harmful effects. And just to throw more light, part of the reason we have very high prevalence rate of hepatitis B in northern Uganda and the country, and just to give a breakdown, the scientists are indicating that currently northern Uganda alone has hepatitis B prevalence rates of between 6 to 12%. Now, Acholi sub-region alone stands at 18.5 to 23.9%. And Uganda as a country generally stands at about 4.3%. This is serious, and we need to take immediate intervention. The other thing, Right Honorable Speaker, we are also aware that globally, issues of liver cancer on a global scale stands at about 78%, and it's majorly related to issues of hepatitis B as a secondary matter. And I therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, would plead with this Honorable House that government takes these matters very seriously, and especially the farmers who are struggling. Our farmers are struggling so much. We are talking about scaling up productivity and production. We are talking about fighting poverty, but we cannot do much unless we begin to put in place the things that would enhance the farmers to productively get involved in these agricultural activities. So I want to say thank you for the recognition that this is a matter that needs urgent attention by this parliament. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Honorable Call. Yes.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to appreciate.
Are you seconding or you? If you're seconding, you say you're seconding.
Right Honorable Speaker.
No, you'll second after him. Yes, Honorable Call.
Right Honorable Speaker, I rise to second the motion with amendment that it should cover the whole country. Right Honorable Speaker, when we are talking a bit about this problem, this involves what we eat. And even just yesterday, but one, if we have been reading, there are some trucks that Uganda Bureau of Standards were tracking and following that they were going to South Sudan. And obviously this food that has been contaminated that we are talking about is not majorly coming from northern Uganda. Some of them come from eastern Uganda, central Uganda, and western Uganda. And when we are talking about this problem, we are talking about cancer generally, not only liver cancer. And if you look at the problem of cancer in Uganda now, then there is a high possibility that we need to actually increase the implementation to make sure we control. Not only now, but I think even in the 10th Parliament, we had problem with our neighbor Kenya, whereby Kenya was actually stopping even grains from Uganda to cross to Kenya. Now, when you look at what has happened recently, especially in South Sudan, you compare the South Sudan with Uganda, the standard where we've come from, and this is a young nation trying to control food consumption in their country. And therefore, if we cannot do that much as a country, Uganda, all of us, we are eating grains on a daily basis, and the effect on all of us, and therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, I think this is the right time for this parliament and the government to take serious action for what we eat. This does not affect only animals, I mean human beings, but also animals. And at the end of the day, we are also eating the animals that also eat this same grain that are affected. And therefore, I actually request members to support this motion, and really we need to work hard as this parliament and this country to work on this particular problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bed.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the motion. Right Honorable Speaker, the issue of the mycotoxins in the foods and in this country is a serious issue. There are many types of mycotoxins. Aflatoxin is one of them. These aflatoxins, apart from that, they damage the liver and many other organs of the body. They also curtail the synthesis of proteins. They also affect the immunity of the receivers. They are very dangerous not only to the humans, but also to the animals. And the human being, they end up consuming the products, the livestock products, the animal products, and they become very susceptible. Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to support the motion that government of Uganda pays attention to this mycotoxin. Right, Honorable Speaker, as we are talking on the food safety issues, I want to remind this Parliament that in the last planting season, under your able leadership as the Speaker, you guided this Parliament and we directed the Minister of Finance to provide 4 billion shillings for seeds for the farmers in the constituencies. Now that the Minister of Agriculture is here and the rains have come in, this Parliament should be assured whether the seeds are ready for our constituencies. Those seeds, Right Honorable Speaker, it is one way that this government and this Parliament can secure food security for our people. Our people are waiting, Right Honorable Speaker, and they are very proud about you. They always listen. Even the last season, they listened. They said that our Speaker, she's always concerned with the issues that affect us. I want to implore you, Right Honorable Speaker, that since the Minister of Agriculture and Finance, they are here, they should appraise this Parliament whether the seeds are ready for this season. The rains have begun, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bedi. Honorable members, we are not going to take time on this topic, on this motion. I want Dr. Aboka, Dr. Buka, Abuka.
Dr. Boka.
Both.
Thank you.
First, Dr. Boka, Dr. Buka.
It's Dr. Boka. Thank you so much, Madam
I know
Speaker.
all your names. I know what I mean. I'm saying you start with Dr. Boka and come with Dr. Buka.
I thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support the motion. I want to start by a clarification between aflatoxin, mycotoxin, and hepatitis B. Hepatitis B is a viral infection, so it's a note for the record that should be corrected. It's not a mycotoxin. Having mentioned that, Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues, this issue has come to the August House because of trade. But the matter at hand has a public health connotation. That's why the World Health Organization is concerned about it. It's any issue that affects the health and well-being of our citizens. I would like to pray that one, the Minister of Health be brought on board in this. We need as a country to look into our legal and regulatory framework related to drugs and food toxicity assessment and surveillance. Secondly, we need to create awareness in our communities about the health dangers of mycotoxins and aflatoxins, how to prevent, how to detect, and how to provide appropriate treatment and care. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Buka. Honorable members will bring the Minister of Health in this. We are going to refer this motion to the committee because the issues that are being raised are very important. We will not only limit it to Northern Uganda.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to support with amendment the motion. The agricultural sector engages almost all Ugandans in profitable activities. So this is a very important topic. The motion addresses just a small part of a very big problem. which is the problem of storage, poor storage, which results into mycotoxin. What we do need as a country is what other countries, rival countries like Kenya and Tanzania are doing. They have a whole board or authority on cereals.
Government Chief Whip, can we have some order around your place, your people?
We need a national cereals and other produce board and authority whereby the issue of aflatoxin, grading of produce and standards can be applied in a department. Tanzania has a board, Kenya has got a board. They have got silos all over the regions for storing and grading produce. We had produce marketing board in this country. I don't see it. This is part of the problem. So let us not just zero on aflatoxin, which is a small portion of a big problem of agricultural produce which is not handled properly. My prayer is that we wait and listen to my proposal in a private member's bill entitled that the country takes into account forming a board or a serious board, just like the other countries which we are rivaling with. I'm in the process of doing that, and I will beg the House to give me an opportunity.
Honorable Doctor.
Thank you.
Doctor will not wait for your bill. The motion is seeking to prioritize the intervention.
I support it.
Even when you have the bill, we'll always seek government to make a priority of what is being said. So we come with your bill, that is okay.
Oblige, okay. Madam Chair, Madam Speaker.
And honorable members, the issue that is being raised is a very important issue. It affects the health. And much as they say, it affects business, but most importantly, it affects the health of our people. And what we need to do is to have a national evaluation together with the stakeholders on the food safety. We need a national evaluation. And then we also need to see the post-harvest handling, how the post-harvest handling is being handled. Then we need to look at the existing safeguards that we have and see how best we can improve them and what needs to be done. And based on that, I don't think this House can get for us all of that within a minute. We will hear from the minister. Yes. You have you're giving information on this, and then you're also giving information on the seeds. You're giving information on the seeds and the plan you have for the horse.
Thank you, Right Honorable. I want to thank the Honorable Mapenduzi for the motion. I support it 100%. And I know, Madam Speaker, you've guided. You want the relevant committee to study it. We shall fully participate. The only information I want to give to the House, already the Committee of Agriculture is aware. The National Agricultural Research Organization did an innovation. You see, mycotoxins produce aflatoxins, which affect our food. So narrow, the good news we have is that it produced a solution called AfroSafe for the aflatoxins, but they have suffered inadequate funding to multiply it and produce it. So I pray that when you go to interact in the committee, you invite us and we lead the narrow to come with this solution and explain how it will cure the problem. So I want to thank our scientists because they are working. Then on the seeds, Madam Speaker, when we work together, we all win. I am ready to work with you the way we did to get the seeds. On the horse, we can still work together the way we work together, and we can all win. I thank you.
Honorable members, the minister is, no. Minister is ready to work with the House. Work with the House to get to get the seats and the horse. I am referring this matter to this motion to Committee of Agriculture and Health, and report back in 2 months' time. Yes. The planting season. Yes.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. And we're having a very serious matter, Right Honorable Speaker. But the point of order I'm raising, Right Honorable Speaker, I've been here with Honorable Frank Tumwebaze as a honorable member and now as a minister. He's known to be putting on decently. But of recent, people have degenerated. I know there is always the Mandela attire, but the smart Frank Tumwebaze is not the one who is here appearing casually as if he's putting on an evening wear, and some of us cannot even see him.
Honorable members, Honorable Frank Tumwebaze is putting on the Mandela shirt, a multi-million Mandela shirt. He's actually smarter than you. Honorable Minister of Agriculture, you were on committee. Much as we are defending you on being smart, the Minister of Finance has come back. You are on committee. It is time for planting. We want seeds in our constituencies. Yes, we want seeds. Minister of Finance. Actually, people in the minister's constituency even need seeds more. In Kavale. Honorable Minister, Agriculture and Finance, we need seeds. If you tell us you're coming back to report in 2 days, we can wait 2 days. But just tell us what we should do. We want seeds. Henry.
Madam Speaker.
Henry, you have seen how important you are. We had to wait for you to come back.
Madam Speaker, we are going to sit with the Minister of Agriculture.
Yes.
We look into the matter and report back to the House.
Thank you. Report back on Thursday. Report back on Thursday. Next item.
Item 5.
Yes. Procedure.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, some time back I raised the matter concerning fake agricultural inputs, and you directed the minister. By that time, Ramirama was the one in the house.
Honorable Ravirama.
Honorable Minister Ramirama, you directed him to bring the statement concerning agricultural inputs. Honorable Speaker, my farmers in Nakaseke, they are suffering with fake fertilizers, fake pests, and pesticides. Sorry. Fake pesticides. Isn't it procedure right? As the minister.
Honorable members, Honorable Babiku, I want you to contribute in the next item. Come back. This is on issues of presidential. Yes.
Right, Honorable Speaker, isn't it procedure right that good enough the Minister for Agriculture is here to bring a statement concerning these fake agricultural inputs. As you directed some time back that should bring this report in 2 months, but it's coming almost to 6 months. This report is not being brought at the floor parliament. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, Honorable Vice President, you're welcome. You've come at the right time when we are going to discuss your issues of thanking the president. Yes, that is the one we are going for now. So, agriculture.
Honorable Speaker, with your indulgence, we can bring a paper on the efforts we are having in trying to control the fake, the pesticides, acaricides, and the challenges we are facing. It's largely an issue of sensitization and enforcement, but we can present a statement in about a week's time with your permission. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's get a statement to that effect. Can we go to the next item?
Item 5, motion for resolution of Parliament to appreciate His Excellency the President.
Embera bweti bweri mu Parliament y'eggwanga Uganda nga abaka bateesa ku nsonga ez'enjawulo. Ensonga ebaddemu ekutteko nti ate kati eggye lya Uganda yafuuse machinery epangisibwa bupangisibwa. Oba olinamu akasente ng'opangisa UPDF ng'egenda okukolera omulimu. Oba olina oluzi lw'oyagala okukuuma, UPDF ejja kukuumira oluzi lwo. Oba olina ebijanjalo by'oyagala okukuuma tebabibba ababbi, UPDF omulimu ejja kugukolera. Oba oyagala kuyigga bumyu, UPDF ejja kujja okuyiggira obumyu. Okugamba yafuuse machinery nti yeekozesebwa bukozesebwa, tewali mulimu guli awo gwa nkalira nti nno okukuuma ggwanga Uganda, wabula kati kola kasita kiba nti eyingiza ssente. Kino kyogeddwako basomodde mu Parliament ne balaga nti nno baagala ssente nti UPDF kitongole kyetongodde ekikozi kya ssente n'olwekyo kirina okunoonya ssente mu mbeera zonna. Simanyi gye tulaga. Kuno kwonna kutya bannamagye ndowooza kuba idle okulowooza. Baagala eva babeere busy nga tebalowooza nga bwe byali Mwami Museveni bwe baakola okugyako zi gavumenti ezaaliwo kati taagala bamulowooleze nti basobola okumuggyako. N'ekyo balaba bafuula busy eno n'eno n'embitagasa naye bateekamu. Naye ensonga nnyingi zoogeddwa mu Parliament ezirimu eggumba nga zisaana okukolebwako okulaba nti Uganda yaffe etebenkera ate ebaamu gunna. Woogedde ku nsonga ya Zoom nti waliwo amateeka agayisibwa nga kola omutewera naye ne beekwasa nti ku Zoom waliyo abantu. Naye omubaka w'e Butambala omukyala Hajati Aisha Kabanda ategeezezza nti ye yabadde ku Zoom olunaku olwajjo n'akola buli kimu alaba Zoom eri active ababeerako ddala bamanya nti waliyo abantu nga bifu tebiriiyo. Kyokka ate ng'eri mu maaso ga sipiika wabeera atunulako naye tasobola kumanya kigenda mu maaso kuba temuli ddoboozi, tayinza kumanya bani aboogedde bani abotoogedde, ate tasobola kulaba ani awanise mukono ng'agamba nti Zoom nfu, omuntu ajja kuva eri awaabe nti balina etteeka eryayisibwa nga kola omutewera ate Parliament ne Uganda ebifiirwe ssente empitirivu. Abamuvunvubise ne bawoza simanya ate orientation, simanya ate twabayisa mu orientation, simanya temwabikwata ng'olaba byonna byakwewolereza temuli makulu. Ensonga enkulu eriwo nti is there anybody, waliwo omuntu yenna agoberera Zoom, biki ebibeera ku Zoom, ddala omuwendo oguba guwera ye answer weeri nesikuwoza mu ate orientation simanya temwatekayo omulamu nga tuba orientinga twali bikwatagana ne orientation si reality. Mwaganya okubuzaabuza mujja reality muteekewo ebibuuziboozi bya orientation ebitalina makulu. So ensonga nnyingi ddala ezigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga lya Uganda ezitaagisibwa okulowoozebwako n'okukolebwa n'okulaba nga eggwanga lyaffe literera era nga liba mu mirembe. Twebaza nnyo mwenna abaliko, mwebale kubaako, mwebale kutwagala, mwebale kugoberera. Mukama nsaba bankuumire naffe tweyama nti tujja kuba tubaleetera amawulire okusobola okumanya biki ebigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga lyammwe Uganda. Mweraba.